want to get to know what the shepherd is and the sheep. For all of us, we know that a shepherd is the one who takes care of the flock. And then the sheep, you can term it as God. For the word shepherd in the Hebrew writing, it is Ra, which means the one who takes care, the one who feeds. It is Ra. And in the Greek writing, it is Poimen, which also means the one, which means a pastor or the one who takes care of the sheep. That is Poimen. The word shepherd gives us another insight to think about, that someone who takes care of the sheep. And when we look into the scripture, it has told us that I am a good shepherd. And the good shepherd gives his life for the sheep. This gives us an injunction that if we have a good shepherd, on another way we have another bad shepherd. So the good shepherd has his own work he does, is to take care of the sheep. But the one who is not, in a contrary statement, the one who is not a good shepherd means he will not take care of the sheep. So here, we have a story. And this story goes like this. Once upon a time, years ago, a tourist moved and went in Israel. As he was watching, looked at the two shepherds. They were talking as they were caring for their flock. Now, the flock of shepherd A mingled with the flock of shepherd B. They looked similar, and they were taking water in the same pond and grazing in the same yard. Now the man who was looking at these two shepherds thought of one thing and said, when the sheep of the same color have mingled themselves together, how would one recognize the sheep from another? Will the owners recognize their sheep? It was his question. As he was perplexed thinking about this, he heard the voice in the evening when the first shepherd made a unique voice. And this unique voice, it was a high pitch that the sheep stopped what they were doing and had to raise their heads up. And when they raised their heads up, it made the same sound, and his flock came to him. When they came to him, the next shepherd also made another sound, which made other sheep to follow him. And he asked one of the shepherds that, how comes that these sheep have heard your sound you've made? And he made a statement that my sheep hear my voice. And when they hear me, they follow. In the same way, we'll come back to the scripture back and see what Jesus was talking about. Shepherd and sheep in Israel was their culture. They could go on taking care of the sheep. And Jesus drew a story about this, giving what these people were going through. Every believer is compared to a sheep, and God is the shepherd. Through Christ, Christ reveals God as the main shepherd, and Jesus Christ is our shepherd as we the sheep. It The relationship between the sheep and the shepherd is the sheep is taken care of, and the shepherd takes care of the sheep. When we closely look into this, we get to know that the sheep depends on the ideas, the feeling, and the love of the shepherd. What the shepherd deserves for the sheep, it is what they take. What the shepherd plans for the sheep, it is what they receive and what they receive. We get to see in this scripture, as we get to read together. Let's go back and read. Verses 11.
And the good shepherd.
Yes.
The good shepherd gives his life for the sheep.
Yeah.
But an hireling, he who is not the shepherd, one who does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and he flees. And the wolf catches the sheep and scatters them.
Thank you. Let's first stop there. Here it says that I am a good shepherd, and a good shepherd gives his life for the sheep, meaning that a good shepherd surrenders his life for the sheep. He takes all his time caring for the sheep. He takes all his effort to see that the sheep is fed well, to see that no damage is caused to the sheep. That is why he says here that the one who is just hired does not take care for the sheep. Because when the wolves come, he just flees away and leaves the sheep alone. I want to tell you today, brothers and sisters, that we have a shepherd, and that is our Jesus Christ, who came and gave his life for us. He surrendered his life so that we can be set free, that we get life eternity. So he gave his life to protect us as sinners and set us free. He is a good shepherd. So here he says that when we read the verses 14, he continues and says, I am a good shepherd, and I know my sheep, and I am known by my own. So in this, we want to get to know that because Jesus is a good shepherd, he knows his sheep, and his sheep knows his voice. When the shepherd calls, when we are called upon that, the shepherd calls and the sheep follows. The shepherd calls and the sheep leaves whatever they do and turns to their master and follow what the master is yearning for them. So in other words, I want us to know that if Jesus is our master, if Jesus is our shepherd, and we are the sheep, we need to hearken on the voice of Jesus. And we need to walk in the same steps as our master does. Because when the shepherd goes to feed the sheep, he moves and the sheep follows. And when he reaches a stopover, the sheep do the same stopover. And when he walks again, the sheep walk again. And when he makes an alarm, the sheep understand the voice of the master and they follow according to the voice and what the voice is asking for their response. In other words, as pastors, we are also shepherds, and we have the sheep where we have the flock we are tendering. And this flock we are tendering, because we have a master who is our major shepherd, he draws us in the same footsteps, and we become, we follow him to also lead others follow Christ. In other words, we need to train others to follow Christ by hearing the voice of God and follow what Jesus is talking about. Here, the shepherd, a good shepherd, will never leave his flock. The good shepherd will always take care of the flock. And he counts one by one, knows each sheep by name. I want to ask by challenging you that, do you understand that our shepherd knows us by name? Do you understand that he always calls us by name? He will never mistake somebody for a name to another. He knows name by name, and he knows by what we do. So the good shepherd knows the sheep and knows it by name. I also want to challenge you, if you are given a flock to take care, to tender, do you also get to know each individual by name? Do you also get to know each individual by the deeds? Do you also get to know how they feel, what they rely on, how they worship, how do they relate with their God? Do you get time to think about that? What is the level of their spirituality? Do they feed? Do they get what is required for them to receive each day as a shepherd given the flock by our master, the major shepherd? It is a challenge to think about. Jesus showed love for the sheep by giving sacrifice, by giving his life at the cross. He provided guidance, comfort, and protection. As we read in Psalms 23, when David was saying that the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not fear, I fear not. For when we have our shepherd next to us, there's nothing which can turn us to fear. You can only fear one thing, is fearing to sin and do right. Because the Lord is our shepherd, we shall fear not. When we come back and read into the same scripture, we shall know that he even makes us move into areas which are full of struggle, that is with us. Let's go back, let's read into that paraphrase of the scripture, and we get to pick some simple points as we shall be concluding our sermon today. Psalms 23. Remember, we're talking about the sheep and the shepherd. Yes.
The Lord is my shepherd.
The Lord is my shepherd.
I shall not want.
Yes.
He makes me to lie down in green pastures.
Before we continue, I want to know together with us together that if the psalmist said that the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, do you also claim the same way that the Lord is our shepherd? We need nothing more than God. Sometimes we prioritize and we take some things beyond God's level, and we say these things are beyond God. We cannot. This scripture comes to our conscience to know that if the Lord is our shepherd, we need to have no any other want which exceeds the love of Christ. He makes me to lie down in green pasture. This means that he provides what we need. He provides what is needed for our life. That's green pasture. That's green living. That is good health. He is the provider of good health. He makes me lie down green pasture. He leads me beside a still waters. In the still waters, we get to know that however much we have challenges, but he comforts us. He's the Lord who comforts. Even though we are in deep sorrow, even though we have challenges across our movement, we get to know that God comforts us because he's our master. He restores my soul. He leads me in the path of righteousness. So when my soul turns to be damaged, or when my soul is broken, some people become broken-hearted, depending on the life they're going through. Sometimes the challenges make some others broken-hearted. Sometimes you can smile, and other times there's no smile on the face.